Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Prospects and Show 1. My name is Chris, and today I will be taking you guys through a little bit of Jaylon Johnson. He is a third-year corner out of Utah, listed at approximately 6 foot 190 as of today, which is in September. For those of you guys who are watching this much closer to draft day, or maybe your team drafted him and want to see some 2018 tape of what Jaylon Johnson was able to do, that's what we're going to be showing you guys today and kind of working through and seeing where maybe he needs to improve over the course of 2019, or maybe some of the things that he's already shown that he can continue to, I guess, perform at over the course of this coming season. So, Jaylon is very interesting to me. A lot of bigger corners in this class. Paulson Adebo 6'1", Okuda's 6 foot, Terrell 6'1", Henderson 6 foot. So there's a lot of pretty decently sized corners in this class, and he fits right into that mold. Another very fun guy to watch live as well. So one of those guys where I think you kind of get a lot more from him when you watch him over the course of a full game. Because there are some plays where he might not be targeted, where he's really good in coverage. There are some plays where, especially if it's not like all 22, it might be a little bit hard to see like how good he's actually doing. But when you watch the course of a full Utah game, you kind of get to see that context. And oh yeah, maybe he wasn't targeted 3 times over the course of this game, or maybe he was targeted and he played really tight and allowed contested catches, or whatever. So that's kind of what really makes Jaylon interesting to me. Is over the course of watching him a little bit throughout this season so far in Pac-12 play. For Utah is we've gotten to see a little bit of consistency. So hopefully we get to see that continue to show out over these 2 games that we're going to be watching today, Stanford and UCLA. Bottom of the screen. Nice. So again, right, he's really tight, playing him really, really close. Seems to be in a pretty good position to make this play. You're not really reducing separation much better than that. Is able to get his arm and rounding inside. Just a really nice play by the receiver, who I believe was J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Okay, I like the base. Kicks himself into a pretty good position here to explode out. And again, right, just does a really nice job here of staying in phase. Boom, that was actually a pretty nice cut there by J-Jaw. I don't really know if that's holding. If it was, that would be, yeah, maybe. But he doesn't stay engaged for too long. He's playing him really, really tight. And he just gets his arm in. If they're not going to call it, then that's a great play. Good playmaking as well. Has a good feel for the ball tracking side. See him time that really, really well to play the ball. And he seems to do that fairly consistently. That's the one thing that is probably the most impressive thing. Oh, yeah. Probably the most impressive thing about Jaylon Johnson is just how he looks consistently over the course of not only a full game, but over the course of several weeks. Okay, interesting. Using him as a force player there. I like his patience in his gap. So he's not like really being aggressive in terms of his pursuit angles or his tackling or actually going and making the play. But he's doing a pretty nice job here of staying disciplined, reading the play. If this player here, the quarterback, I believe, wants to keep this, he'd be the guy that has to stop him, right? Or unless this guy gets there first. So he reads the play nicely, he reacts nicely, he stays disciplined at his gap, though. I think and his responsibility is the force on the outside. So overall, pretty aware run defender at the very minimum. Nice fluidity with the footwork here as well. I really like his shuffle. And then changes into the back pedal really smoothly to open up. You don't really see him struggling to open that. He just fluidly changes into the back pedal. Really nice. And again, I like the base. Leaves him able to be explode. Stay relatively in phase. Probably took a step too far inside. But in terms of vertical movement, he was about where he needed to be. Didn't turn his head in early enough, is how I'll phrase that. Probably could have done a little bit better on the ball tracking side. Not a huge deal, but probably cost him the catch there. Another thing as well is he's been playing tight at the line, he has been playing some off, and he has been playing some zone. So he is scheme versatile, which is nice. Not really giving up a lot of separation. Zone-ish looking play. Okay, gave up and step inside, so that was probably a slant of some kind. First down. Yeah, he looks like he got beat a little bit to the inside. I don't know if there was a switch issue or kind of hard to tell without the L22 on that. Nice shot undercutting the block. Unfortunately, doesn't do anything with it, but I still like the ability here. Cuts underneath the receiver to help fill that gap between the left tackle. Yes, between the left tackle and the tight end. Nice. Good discipline, especially against J-Jaw on red zone fade. Nice positioning even at this point in the play. Nice ball tracking, looking for it the whole way throughout. Until the very end when he tracks it over the head. Nice. It's good tight, solid coverage there. Nice long strides. Boom. Pick. And there's the speed, top end speed. Touchdown. Don't really get to see a lot of pick sixes on college tape, but yeah, so one thing I'm going to point out too, and obviously things like hips and footwork and all that stuff are important, but another thing I really like to look for, and this goes across all positions to be completely honest, is limiting that wasted motion, right? Whether that be hips, whether that be feet, whether that be body like angles and adjusting to other people, whatever that might be, just limiting that wasted motion so you can react quickly with your body. You can adjust quickly based on a route or a defender, an edge rusher, whatever. Just doing a nice job of getting rid of the waste, I guess. And Johnson does a really nice job with that. It allows him to cut off that back foot, burst out, undercut, and get the pick. So what he does here, right, he's not taking huge, large steps. He's staying relatively in phase, shuffling, transitioning, and then exploding off the back. He might not be a 4-3 guy. I don't think he's going to be a 4-6 guy. Well, I'm guessing probably 4-4s in terms of speed, somewhere in there. Hard to say exactly. Especially given he hasn't trained for a 40 yet. Like how he transitions to play this boundary. He starts out in a straight back pedal. Then the receiver takes the little bit of boundary leverage there. So he transitions into that angled defense. Boom, and again, that explosive back pedal, right? Right here, nice, 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 and then bam! Right here, he's just in the corner of the screen, top right. He's going to explode off that back foot. That's a great first step. Misdisciplining again. Probably would have preferred he make that at least attempt to getting on the play, but I'm taking disciplining and gap technique as well. Oh, nice defensive play by the other corner. Nice pressure. He was looking at him too. Watch the quarterback. He's looking. Well, maybe avoiding these two reads, but he's definitely on that side of the field. Nice efficient back pedal again. Just really going to emphasize how clean, smooth, all those appropriate words. Efficient. But and again, that explosion, right? Unfortunately, he doesn't get there quick enough to make the play because he's playing so far off. I don't know why they're playing them that far off on second down. But man, just watch here this cut downfield or downhill, and then the bursting closing speed that he's able to get in recovery. That's really, really nice athleticism on display there from Jaylon. Good coverage. Probably would like him to be a little bit more active with the hands here. Not huge steal, but just pointing that out. Especially like right here, probably should jam him and redirect with him where you want to go. Okay, it looked like a zone play. Oh. Oh, that is an excellent job enforcing the boundary. Watch this from Jaylon. I'm glad we're getting a replay of this. Gets his head turned to track the ball. Nice. Let's go a little bit early, which is also nice. And then right here, he is directly in phase. Incredibly good job limiting the separation. And probably most importantly on this particular play, enforcing the boundary. He's doing a really nice job of limiting the distance between the receiver and the numbers, and more importantly, the receiver and the out-of-bounds marker. It forces the quarterback to make an incredibly difficult throw that he's not even going to bother trying in this instance. That amounts to a throwaway. But, I mean, you cannot be any more in your face. That's Stephon Gilmore on the weekly right there, if he does that in the NFL level. He reminds me, speaking of comps, he reminds me a little bit of Jair when he came out. I don't really know if he has that like 4.3 blazing athleticism that Jair did out of Louisville, but in terms of versatility, in terms of the different types of coverage they play, the way they play, and a lot of facets, it kind of reminds me of him from that standpoint. I do think he'll end up in the bottom of the first round somewhere. Oh, big on the double move. Good reaction, recovery, but it looked like he better big on the double move, and that'll happen. Well, the pump fake probably is what actually got him. That was even more brilliantly executed by Costello. But he almost caught back up to it at the very end. You're not even throwing it anymore. Probably smart. Okay, let there be a zone play on his part. Okay. Nice. So, the Falcons actually, I'm watching this on the night of the Falcons-Eagles game on Sunday night. The Falcons did this with Zach Ertz a couple times over the course of this game, and I'm not sure entirely. I think that's Colby Parkinson, who is one of the top tight ends in this class as well. We'll probably be watching at some point. They're going to stick Jaylon Johnson, who's obviously a corner, on the tight end, and he actually does a really nice job of manning him up. So we're seeing a little bit more of that in the NFL this year, more so than we did in prior seasons at least. Getting those corners on the tight ends. And so far it seems to be working out fairly decently for the teams that have attempted to try it. I don't know how they got him for a hold, but okay. Nice zone work, nice bracket coverage as well, and good awareness on the play on his part to trust this over-the-top defender to help him out if needed. Because if Costello tries to turkey hold this between him and the safety, there's a pretty good chance that throw is going to look very bad if he actually decides to attempt that. So he takes the safer read across the middle of the field, and it ends up working out for him. It's a good play by Costello, too. Speaking of good plays by Costello, that was actually a really nice throw. Gives up the inside leverage, which is probably not ideal, especially if you think a slant is going to be coming, which they've been running a couple times. And he still plays them fairly tight, but yeah, it would probably be his job to get underneath a little bit more there. Because even right here at the line, he just gives this right off. And I don't know what he's predicting. Probably a hitch or curl or out of some kind to try and take that outside leverage. But even here, that's J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. You're probably not quick enough to undercut that route. And giving up the step at the beginning of the play is what hurt him at the end. So that play plays a little bit more conservative, right? He stays with them a little bit more to the inside. Nice gap discipline. Again, we'd probably like to see him be a little bit more aggressive in terms of trying to attempt to tackle. But I do like the situational awareness and the gap integrity. Okay, probably looking at cover one. Nice coverage. Tight end again. Nice, there you go. Oh, missed the tackle though. Okay, so gotta work on those tackling fundamentals and technique. And we'd probably like to see him be a little bit more aggressive, and maybe that'll come with confidence, right? Maybe he'll be a little bit more aggressive in going for tackles if he actually feels comfortable with his tackling. That could be a factor. But I do like his positioning here. He's doing a really nice job of filling this gap. He's in the right spot. You just got to work on, again, with the head as well. Just got to work on that wrap and roll fundamental technique with him. Again, nice job enforcing the boundary. And look where he is, right? Even at the end of this play, ball's not getting targeted to him. But he's right in stride with this receiver. He's doing a fairly good job enforcing the boundary. Tracking the ball, nicely reading the play, and that's really, really good coverage on his end. Which is why the quarterback ended up deciding to throw it to that guy instead, who was actually also playing fairly tight coverage. So look, oh yeah, okay, so he ended up coming over to match the route, and it left his zone in the back right half of the field open when his corner got beat. It looked like he was expecting help based on the way that he starts this play. If you watch this defender here, he kind of shuffles over. And even at this point in the play, he's still watching the QB, right? So he's probably expecting help from Jaylon behind him. And it's not until at this point in the play where he's already way inside, in between the hashes, and he's being targeted, where he recognizes what happened. So he probably had a match. It was really just a good dialed-up play call, but okay, again, right? I like the positioning, I like his discipline, I like his ability to recognize this run, all that fun stuff. He's really nice on the force here, but I would also like to see him be a little bit more aggressive with his backside pursuit and actually going to attempt to tackle. Part of that might be lack of tackling fundamentals and confidence in that. Hard to exactly say. But yeah, like even there, he probably could have been a little bit more aggressive and actually going for the tackle. That was nice. Okay, just out of phase at the very end here, but I do like the first phase of this play, right? Right here, nice move back pedal, and opens, reacts with the receiver, and plays him down the field and plays the boundary. So he is a half step or so behind here, but the beginning of that play allows him to stay with him throughout the course and force a difficult throw for Costello. Same thing there. Does a really nice job of reacting to the receiver's movement. Oh, nice pressure. Good play. And tight end. Okay, played him off. Nice tackle. So that's nice to see. But yeah, he's definitely giving him some space, playing soft coverage on 1st and 10. He tried the sticks, and just comes downhill and makes the tackle. So yeah, he did what he had to do there. They'll go against him as a catch allowed, but at the same time, that's more of a play call thing. Dang, nice pressure. Ooh. Okay, so again, you're probably expecting him to play sticks here. Just keep the ball in front of him on 4th and 11. Going back to that trusty inside route. Yeah, tackling definitely not good at all. I might actually give him below a 5 for tackling. Dang, nice play by the tight end again. He's really giving up those slants. So that's probably, there's the motor. That's nice to see. But yeah, you're definitely going to want to work with him on reducing that inside leverage because he's doing a nice job of forcing guys outside and enforcing the boundary and all that good stuff. So if he could get inside a little bit more frequently and work on the jams and stuff as well at the line of scrimmage and kind of just win that battle at the LOS a little bit more consistently. But when he gets downfield, his coverage past the line of scrimmage seems to be really, really solid. So before we get into this game here, which is going to be also more 18 tape versus UCLA, I believe Wilton Speight was the quarterback at this point. I'm going to go over a couple of the things that we're going to be looking for the rest of the way. So the first thing I want to say is I want to see improved tackling. That would be most ideal, at least especially in terms of consistency, but even willingness to tackle and aggressiveness on run plays, all that kind of stuff. Footwork, we've already gone over a little bit as well. Fluidity and motion, we've already talked about quite a bit. So that's also going to include general athleticism and like speed and all that good stuff. Run support and pass rushing, tackling, ball tracking, and playmaking ability, variance coverage. We already talked a little bit about that as well. Patience and positioning, enforcing the boundary, discipline and route recognition, and miscellaneous intangibles. And I'll go over a little bit more of what those terms mean as we see them, if I haven't already, or at the end. I like the stance there. Slant concept. Okay, so he kind of gave away that he was going to be checking here, just from leverage, and then he attacks really, really early. It doesn't end up really making too much of a difference because it's a run play, but he could have been caught off balance if that were a pass play. Because the last thing you want to do is attack with that right arm, and then have someone like Odell Beckham swing over the top and just blow right past you. So being too over aggressive is something that you could be considering. It ends up working out in that case though, or at least a neutral. Nice force play. Come up and make the tackle. Nope. Oh, that was a nice hit though. Nice fluidity. Good stance. And he explodes out of it too, right? And that's how you can kind of tell that he's comfortable. Boom. Just very, very fluid hips. Does a really nice job of opening up inside. And then you get to see the bursting explosiveness down the field. And so great job to get out of there, right? So he first reads the receiver that he's on, but keeps his eyes in the backfield to recognize the run. And then he's responsible for this outside force here, almost. And kind of steals him inside. That's actually really underrated play there by Jaylon. Nice block shed. Okay, so he doesn't have that area of run defense down, which is nice to see. Just bam, swims right over the top for the easy block shed. Really, really nice work for a corner, even against the receiver, to force the quarterback out of bounds early. Very nice. That's a win. Speaking of win, does an excellent job here in forcing the boundary, right? Talked about limiting that inside leverage, especially if you were expecting like a slant concept. Does a really nice job here of getting the receiver out of bounds. Nice. Good patience on this particular play. React, waits, still shuffling, right? And bam. And stays tight with him throughout. That's a really good play by Jaylon. Nice. Again, you get to see the fluidity, right? He changes his direction here multiple times. Starts out with the false step out, unfortunately, but that's not really a huge deal for a first step of the play in this type of concept. Then backs up a little bit when he sees the vertical concept, and then shuffles in. His transition from shuffle to backpedal and vice versa is very nice. Force work, motor, I guess. Still would like to see a little bit more activity in terms of aggressiveness and run support though. Great patience. We'll bring that up again as positive. Learn like his base. And bam, just turns really, really smoothly. Right here he starts. And then mirrors. Excellent. Quick smooth open. And he's still doing a very good job of limiting his wasting motion. Yeah, I would like to see him be a little bit more aggressive in run support still. Nice. Good boundary work and forces him to throw to a different receiver. Excellent tight coverage. We can infer. Oh, wow. Man, it's actually bounds for that. Nice patience. Oh, great catch. And you're noticing probably that they haven't really targeted him a whole lot. Opposite side of the field, of course, he was wide open, so that in that particular instance, it made sense. But like even there, he only had like a step on the other corner. And Jaylon is just doing a really nice, and that's the kind of thing that I talked about at the beginning of this, right? Is like over the course of watching this particular game versus UCLA, you've seen one or two plays, we've seen traits and things like that. But the main overarching point with him is just how consistent he is in shutting down his side of the field. And I think that that's kind of what sells him as a corner in this class. I mean, they're even looking his way and they just can't throw it there because he's so nicely covering these receivers. So he might not have 25 interceptions or a million tackles and run support or whatever, but you can rely on him, even that play. You can rely on him to cover his own. You can rely on him to man up a receiver, and you can rely on him to play tight or soft. He's versatile in coverage. He can do all these different things that you want a cover corner to do. You just have to get him to be a little bit more aggressive on those rundowns. He really does give me a lot of Jair Alexander vibes. Now, of course, again, Jair was smaller also, which is something to keep in mind. It's probably aided in helping him get quicker. And of course, Jair had his injury his junior year as well. But kind of that feeling where like other teams don't really throw at him. He's doing a really nice job in all three types of coverage. Look at the enforcing the boundary. He literally enforces the boundary. He's that might even be a little bit too much. He didn't call it, but dang, that's really, really nice to see that kind of physicality, and it pairs really nice with his athletic ability. Oh, don't take his head off. Also, red zone work. Part of that is team defense as well. The rest of the back seven is admittedly doing very good, and not really leaving a lot of weak spots to attack over the whole entire team. But Jaylon is definitely doing his part in both zone and man. We saw the couple plays against Shajaw earlier in the Stanford game. And he does that consistently over the course of the seasons and games as well. And that's going to be his probably biggest selling point is, hey, every single game I went out and I shut down my half of the field. So with that being said, going to go back in here and enter my grades for Jaylon based on what we saw today. Jaylon Johnson from Utah. Oops. Okay. So in terms of footwork, again, we talked about limiting that waist of motion with the footwork. We talked about the smoothness as well, limiting the false steps, and in some ways the break out of that step as well. That kind of goes with athleticism as well. But overall, I really, really liked what we got to see in that category. There's always a little bit of polishing you can do, and obviously things will change when you see different NFL route trees and concepts and stuff. So I'm probably not going to be giving any tons for footwork unless someone absolutely blows me away. But it was solid and it was enough to show that, hey, he's sufficient in the area and can do everything you want to ask of him. Fluidity of motion. So this was a big one for him. The athleticism. I don't know if I'm going to go with a 10 because I'm kind of saving those for like 4.3s guys and elite athletes. CJ Henderson, I feel like can be a 4.3 type of guy. So that's probably why he got a 10. But yeah, I definitely feel comfortable giving him a 9. Very, very good, very fluid. Really like how he was able to change smoothly between shuffle and pedal, and all the other sufficient needs in that category as well. So that was really nice to see. Run support and pass rushing. On the other hand, this area is probably going to be extremely, extremely low. Now, I'm probably being a little bit harsh with this because I normally don't give out 5s during regular season. But we haven't really seen a whole lot of improvement there. And he can tackle a little bit, kind of, maybe. But my main issue here is going to be the aggressiveness and the lack of angles and downhill plays that we saw from him. So I'm going to go a little bit extreme, and I'm going to go with a 3. Uh, partially because we also didn't get to see any pass rushing reps, so that would be a 5 or 6 for lack of reps, but that doesn't help either. Yeah, you really want to see him be more aggressive in that particular category is the main argument. Tackling, on the other hand, it wasn't terrible. We did get to see the missed tackle. I can't really give him a below a 5 for that, but I will say a 5. He needs to work in that particular department still, and that's easily his biggest flaw, is the run support and the tackling. Downhill, he is a pure cover corner. So teams like the Lions, if you're a Lions fan watching this, Jaylon Johnson is probably not going to be a guy that the Lions pursue heavily. You're probably looking at someone more like a CJ Henderson. Ball tracking and playmaking. So this is for interceptions, all that kind of stuff, tracking the ball in the air, all that. I'm not going to go with a 9 or a 10, but I will go with an 8 for now. He does a really nice job in that particular category. He does need to turn his height a little bit sooner, which is why I'm marking him down a little bit. And I don't remember him getting a ton of interceptions. He's more of a PD type of guy, limiting the receiver's ability to catch the ball more so than actually making a play on the ball himself, more frequently than not. So I'm going to go with an 8 for that particular area. Very into coverage, though. This is one of the things that I really, really liked about him, and I'm going to go with a 10. He is definitely a very, very good cover corner. He can play off man, he can play hard man, he can play press. Needs to improve the press a little bit, but not a huge deal. That kind of stuff can be coached up a little bit once he hits NFL coaching. But overall, has the ability to play all different types of coverage and do it very well. So I'm definitely comfortable with giving him a perfect 10 in that category. Patience and positioning. Also, again, not necessarily a perfect 10, but that's definitely a 9 that can improve this season into a 10. He is showing very, very good skills in this particular area also. Patience could be a little bit better in press. We saw the one rep I pointed out where he was a little bit too overzealous in press coverage, but his positioning was really, really nice. He was in phase probably 95% of the time, and that's something that he shows consistently over the course of a season and a full game. So really like where he's at in that area, and that's probably going to go up to a 10 by draft day. Enforcing the boundary. This is, again, something that I talked about a lot with him, and I will actually go so far as to give him a 10 for it. We got to see the physicality he uses in enforcing the boundary. We got to see him do so without, well, both physically pushing the boundary and working the boundary in the correct angular ways. So definitely something that he's been taught very well how to do at Utah, and something that I am very, very pleased to see a corner do. He reminds me of Sidney Jones in that kind of way. And from that standpoint, he does really, really well in that category, does it consistently, and it uses that technique to force incompletions, which is the main goal. Uses it vertical stems as well, so I really like his ability to succeed in that area. Next is disappointing route recognition. Now, I'm going to mark him down a little bit heavier than I probably should because I want to see improvement from the slants category. We saw that inside release move beat him a couple times over the course of the 2 games that we watched today. So for now, I'm going to go with the 7. That's something that could very easily go up to an 8 or a 9 even if we continue to see improvement in that area. Also, when he was matched up against Shaja, he did hold once or twice, I think. So discipline can improve a little bit as well. But for now, a 7 is not bad. It's just someplace that needs a little bit of improvement over the course of this year. Finally, we go to miscellaneous and intangibles, and I'm going to give him a 9. I don't remember any injuries. I don't remember any character issues. Okay, he had a minor injury. Not a huge deal. So, yeah, I'm fairly comfortable with giving him a 9 in that category. So, going to assume that probably 8 is the average, somewhere in the 80s, 90s range. +1, +2, -5 would be -3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. So 79, which would be a second round grade for me, which is fairly good. And that's also considering I went a little harsh on admittedly, on the run support and the tackling, and also probably a little bit too harsh on discipline. So he could easily be like an 80 to an 85 by the time we get to the draft. And probably should be also when we see that improvement this season. But for now, based on the 18 tape that we were able to see today and what very little I've seen of him over the course of the actual season so far, that's kind of where I'm at. And again, he's a very good corner, and we got to see his strong suits over the course of this. I think I kind of pointed those out. He is a very good cover corner. The main reason that he's that low is because of his run defense. And I place quite a high value on that as a Lions fan. That's something that we've kind of been ingrained into with this Patricia transition and this Bob Quinn transition a little bit more so. So he's not someone that Lions fans are probably going to be too familiar with and love over the course of the draft process. But for some of these other teams that need a corner, probably even a corner 1, over this next coming year, he's someone that you guys will definitely want to be paying attention to. And even though I gave him a 79, most of you guys should probably consider him a first round talent for your particular team's needs. Because he can play zone effectively, he can play man effectively, he covers very, very well, he has versatility in coverage, all that good stuff. So, with that being said, hopefully I wasn't too hard on him. I try not to be, but with corners, I kind of do naturally get hard on some of these guys. But regardless, hopefully you learned a thing or two today. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. I probably will take a look at him again before draft time. But with that being said, hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. For now, peace out.